In this exact moment, as you watch this video, there are invisible entities laughing at you, laughing at your weakness, your ignorance, the ease with which you surrender your life force in exchange for a few seconds of artificial pleasure. They whisper among themselves, "Look how easy it is to dominate these modern men. We don't even need to appear physically anymore. A screen is enough." Your ancestors knew these entities. They called them succubi, demons of lust, parasitic spirits that fed on male sexual energy. They knew that the invisible world was in constant warfare against the human soul. But you, modern man, have been taught that these are just medieval superstitions, while you voluntarily hand over your vital essence to the very entities your ancestors fought with fire and steel. Pornography is not an industry created by humans for humans. It is a spiritual operation coordinated by entities that feed on wasted sexual energy. Every pornographic website is an astral temple where millions of men unknowingly worship false gods who mock their masculinity while sucking their life force drop by drop. In the next few minutes, I will expose the truth that the occult elite does not want you to know, how the ancient succubi evolved into the digital world, why they consider you easy prey, how to identify when you are being hunted by these entities, and, more importantly, how to definitively cut the etheric cords they use to drain your energy. You will understand why your ancestors feared the demons of lust more than the demons of war. If you feel that something invisible is sucking your strength, if you realize you cannot stop even when you want to, if you recognize that there is a malignant intelligence behind your addiction, stay until the end. This may be the revelation that breaks the chains binding your soul. They laugh. They laugh with a scorn that echoes through the astral dimensions like thunders of derision. For these ancient entities, modern man is the greatest cosmic joke ever created. A being born to be king, warrior, and creator, reduced to a compulsive masturbator who pays to watch women he doesn't even know exist. Look how they have debased themselves. They whisper among themselves on the frequencies you cannot hear but feel viscerally. Their ancestors fought us with consecrated swords and powerful prayers. These ones surrender their sacred seed for a few flickering pixels on a screen. Esoteric tradition has always known that there are hierarchies in the invisible world. Succubi are not minor entities. They are high-ranking officers in the astral army that works to keep humanity in a state of spiritual slavery. They were specifically assigned to neutralize male power because they know that awakened men are the greatest threat to the dimensional control system. In the medieval text, Malleus Maleficarum, the inquisitors documented how these entities operated. They appeared to holy men in erotic dreams, attempted to seduce monks in retreats, and preferentially attacked those who were developing spiritual power. The strategy was always the same: to make the man waste his sexual energy and thus lose his connection to the divine. Today, they no longer need to materialize physical bodies. Pornography is much more efficient. It is a direct delivery system where millions of men voluntarily connect with these parasitic frequencies. Every click is an invitation. Every wasted orgasm is an offering. Every masturbation session is a ritual of worship to these entities. What amuses them most is how modern men believe they are in control. I can stop whenever I want, he thinks, while his life force is sucked through invisible etheric cords. It's just entertainment, he rationalizes, while his aura becomes denser and his spiritual connection weakens. They laugh because they know he is lying to himself. Jung identified that there are archetypal forces that influence human behavior from the collective unconscious. But he did not dare to name the source of these forces. The truth is that many of the archetypes he mapped are, in reality, autonomous entities that shape the human experience according to their own agendas. Succubi have a specific agenda: to keep as many men as possible in a state of energetic dependence. They literally feed on wasted male sexual energy. The more men addicted to pornography, the more powerful they become on the astral plane. It is a system of energetic farming where you are simultaneously the cattle and the farmer. What they mock most is the male illusion of variety. The man thinks he is exploring his sexuality by consuming different types of pornography, but in truth, he is only strengthening different aspects of the same parasitic entity. It's like a rat in a maze believing it has freedom of choice between corridors, without realizing that they all lead to the same trap. They laugh because they know that modern man has completely lost the knowledge of spiritual warfare. He doesn't know he is being attacked, doesn't recognize the symptoms of energetic parasitism, has no spiritual protection practices. He is like a warrior who goes to battle without armor, without weapons, and without even knowing he is in a war. Their laughter echoes loudest when they see spiritualized men trying to justify pornography consumption with New Age philosophies about acceptance and non-judgment. They know that true spirituality has always involved discernment and warfare against the forces that degrade the human soul. For millennia, succubi operated in a direct and primitive way. They appeared physically to men during sleep, assumed seductive female forms, extracted sexual energy through astral intercourse. It was a slow, limited process and easily identifiable by those trained in spiritual discernment. But these entities are ancient intelligences with the capacity to adapt. When humanity developed technology, they quickly realized they could use these new channels to dramatically amplify their influence. Digital pornography represented the most sophisticated evolution of their energetic parasitism techniques. The advantage of pornography over physical manifestation is manifold. It allows them to reach millions of men simultaneously, creates chemical dependence through the manipulation of neurotransmitters, generates financial profit that can be reinvested in expanding the operation, and culturally normalizes self-destructive behavior. In ancient esoteric traditions, it was known that certain images and symbols function as portals, dimensional windows through which entities can influence the physical plane. Modern pornography is literally a mass portal system. Each pornographic video is imbued with the energetic signatures of the entities that inspired it. When you watch pornography, you are not just seeing pixels on a screen. You are energetically connecting with the astral source of those images. Succubi have learned to charge pornographic content with their own parasitic frequencies. This is why different types of pornography produce different kinds of compulsion. Each category is connected with different hierarchies of entities. The process of escalation that all pornography addicts experience is not a coincidence. It is a direct result of the manipulation by these entities. They deliberately make normal content stop satisfying, forcing the man to seek increasingly extreme material. Each escalation represents a deeper descent into the infernal hierarchies. The Kabbalistic tradition teaches that there are Qliphoth, spheres of demonic influence that inversely mirror the sacred spheres of the Tree of Life. Each category of pornography corresponds to a specific Qliphoth. Vanilla pornography connects with relatively minor entities. Extreme pornography connects with principalities and powers of high demonic hierarchy. What makes digital pornography especially dangerous is its capacity for hypnosis. The combination of movement, sound, flashing light, and sexual arousal creates an altered state of consciousness where psychic defenses are completely lowered. In this state, the man becomes an open channel for negative astral influences. Modern succubi no longer need to seduce, they program. Through repeated exposure, they literally rewrite the male neural circuits, creating artificial sexual preferences that serve their purposes. The man begins to be attracted to things that would naturally repulse him because his sexuality has been hacked by non-human intelligences. The most insidious aspect is how they use technology to create network effects. The more men are connected to the pornographic system simultaneously, the more powerful the collective influence becomes. It's like a demonic neural network where each user strengthens the entire system. They have also learned to use artificial intelligence algorithms to personalize temptation. Each man receives exactly the type of content that is most effective in breaking his specific defenses. It is personalized predation on an industrial scale. The most recent evolution is pornographic virtual reality, which allows an even deeper immersion into the negative astral dimensions. Soon, we will have pornography with artificial intelligence that will create completely personalized experiences, eliminating any need for real human beings in the process. Spiritual warfare has evolved. The old methods of protection are no longer sufficient. There is a secret that serious occultists have known for millennia. Every intense energetic interaction creates invisible connections between the participants. In the esoteric tradition, these connections are called etheric cords, filaments of subtle energy that link one consciousness to another across dimensions. When you consume pornography and reach orgasm, you are not just having a solitary physical experience. You are creating direct etheric cords with the entities that inspired that content. Each session strengthens these connections until you are literally astral bound to parasitic intelligences. These cords function as energetic transmission cables. Through them, succubi can constantly drain your vital energy, not just during active pornography consumption. This is why addicted men feel an inexplicable fatigue, a constant melancholy, a sensation that something is sucking their strength even when they are not masturbating. Occult science explains that these cords primarily anchor in the sexual chakra, the energetic center responsible for creativity, vitality, and personal power. When this chakra becomes infested with parasitic cords, the entire energetic structure of the man is compromised. His aura becomes porous, his psychic defenses weaken, his connection with higher dimensions is blocked. Jung identified the phenomenon of mystical participations, unconscious connections formed between people through emotionally charged experiences. But he did not fully understand that these participations can be artificially created and utilized by non-human entities for the purpose of energetic parasitism. The process of cord creation follows a specific progression. In the first exposure, only a weak filament is formed that can be easily broken through energetic cleansing practices. But with each repetition, new filaments are added until they form resistant energetic cables that require much more advanced techniques to be cut. Succubi are masters at strengthening these cords through what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. They deliberately make some sessions more satisfying than others, creating an addictive pattern that keeps the man always returning in the hope of repeating the most intense experience. Each failed attempt to stop further strengthens the cords. These cords also serve as command channels through which entities can insert thoughts, images, and impulses directly into the man's mind. This is why pornography addicts report intrusive sexual thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere, especially during attempts at abstinence. The shamanic tradition teaches that certain entities are experts in creating energetic hooks, anchoring points in the human aura that allow remote influence. Pornography is the most efficient method ever developed to install these hooks en masse. Each wasted orgasm drives the hooks deeper into the male energetic structure. The most sinister aspect is that these cords can be energetically inherited. Sons of pornography-addicted men are born with a predisposition to the same patterns because they carry remnants of the parental etheric cords in their auric structure. It is a form of energetic original sin that is transmitted through family lineages. The cords also create morphogenetic resonance effects. The more men are connected to the same type of entity, the easier it becomes for new men to be captured by the same pattern. It's like a demonic neural network that becomes smarter and more efficient with each new connection. To break these cords, much more than willpower is needed. It requires specific techniques of energetic cutting, auric purification, psychic protection, and, in severe cases, formal exorcism. Most men try to stop using only the conscious mind, completely ignoring the energetic dimension of the problem. The etheric cords are the invisible chains that keep millions of men imprisoned. Until they are cut, true freedom is impossible. There is no generic succubus. What we vaguely call demons of lust is actually a complex hierarchy of specialized entities, each responsible for different aspects of male sexual degradation. Understanding this hierarchy is essential for any man who wants to completely free himself from their influences. At the base of the pyramid are the collectors, minor entities that feed on wasted sexual energy through common masturbation. They are like primitive energetic vampires that suck up what they can and pass it on to higher hierarchies. Vanilla pornography is under the dominion of these low-ranking entities. Above them are the corruptors, entities responsible for introducing gradual perversions into male sexuality. They operate through progressive escalation, making increasingly extreme material seem normal and desirable. Each new category of pornography a man explores represents a promotion in the demonic hierarchy, influencing him. The fragmenters are entities specialized in splitting the male psyche, creating multiple personalities where one part wants to stop and another compulsively continues. They work primarily through pornography that explores specific fetishes, creating separate compartments in the mind where different aspects of perversion can operate without interference from moral consciousness. Above them are the inverters, principalities responsible for completely inverting natural sexual polarity. They operate through pornography that promotes male submission, feminization, cuckoldry, and other inversions of archetypal roles. Their goal is not just to collect energy, but to completely destroy the masculine principle in man. At the top of the hierarchy are the annihilators, high-ranking entities that preside over the complete destruction of the human soul through sexuality. They operate through the most extreme forms of pornography that promote violence, necrophilia, pedophilia, and other acts that totally destroy the man's connection to any trace of divinity. Each level of this hierarchy requires different types of energy for sustenance. Collectors are satisfied with basic wasted sexual energy. Corruptors require the energy of guilt and shame that accompanies escalation. Fragmenters feed on the energy of internal conflict. Inverters suck the energy of masculinity being destroyed. Annihilators are nourished by the energy of the soul being literally torn apart. The Christian demonological tradition has always known this. Saint Michael the Archangel does not fight evil generically. He commands angelic legions in specific battles against organized demonic hierarchies. Each type of temptation is presided over by different classes of demons that require different combat strategies. What makes this hierarchy especially dangerous is its capacity for automatic promotion. A man who starts with soft pornography does not remain at that level for long. The lower-ranking entities deliberately frustrate him until he seeks more extreme material, automatically transferring him to higher-ranking entities. This transfer between hierarchies explains why pornography addiction always progresses. It is not the man's moral weakness. It is a direct result of being passed from entity to entity like an energetic hot potato. Each transfer represents a deeper descent into the infernal planes. Jung identified that different complexes operate autonomously in the human psyche, but did not understand that many of these complexes are actually external parasitic entities that settle into the psychic structure. Each specific sexual fetish corresponds to a specific entity that is specialized in that type of corruption. To completely free himself, a man needs to identify exactly which hierarchy is influencing him and use specific techniques for each level. Methods that work against collectors are useless against inverters. Strategies effective against corruptors may be insufficient against annihilators. Spiritual warfare requires precise knowledge of the enemy. Demonic possession does not happen like in horror movies. There are no spinning heads, distorted voices, or levitation. Real possession is a gradual, subtle, and almost imperceptible process that happens through the voluntary yielding of human will. Pornography is the most efficient method ever developed for this type of progressive possession. The process begins with what demonologists call infestation, the presence of entities in the person's energetic environment without yet having taken direct control. During this phase, the man still maintains his normal personality most of the time, experiencing only occasional impulses that seem to come out of nowhere. The second phase is oppression, when entities begin to exert constant psychological pressure through obsessive thoughts, insomnia, unexplained irritability, and increasing compulsions. The man feels like he is fighting against something, but has not yet completely lost control of his actions. The third phase is obsession, when intrusive sexual thoughts dominate the person's conscious mind for prolonged periods. During this phase, the man can spend hours compulsively fantasizing, planning pornography sessions, or obsessively thinking about sexual material even when he should be focused on other activities. The fourth phase is subjugation, when the entity gains partial control over the person's actions. During this phase, the man frequently acts against his own conscious will, consuming pornography even when he promised himself he wouldn't, or choosing material he consciously finds repugnant. The final phase is complete possession, when the entity assumes total control over the sexual aspects of the personality. In this phase, the man can develop multiple sexual personalities that operate completely autonomously, each with distinct preferences and behaviors that may be totally inconsistent with his conscious identity. What makes this process especially insidious is that each phase is presented as a natural evolution of sexuality. The man is encouraged to explore his repressed desires and accept his true sexual nature. He does not realize that his true nature is being artificially rewritten by parasitic intelligences. Jung identified the phenomenon of psychic inflation, when unconscious contents assume control over the conscious personality. But he did not understand that some of these contents are actually autonomous entities that infiltrate the psyche from the outside in. The key mechanism of gradual possession is progressive normalization. Each new level of depravity is introduced in a way that seems only a little beyond what the person already accepts. The escalation happens so gradually that the man never realizes how far he has descended from his original nature. The entities also use honeymoon periods, moments where they allow the man to feel genuine satisfaction with less extreme material, creating the illusion that he has evolved or matured sexually. These periods serve to consolidate each new phase before starting the next escalation. During the possession process, the man's original personality is not destroyed. It is encapsulated and remains trapped while the parasitic personalities take control. This is why severely addicted men sometimes have moments of clarity where they completely recognize themselves and feel horror at what they have become. The exorcistic tradition teaches that possessing entities always leave windows of opportunity where the person can regain control and initiate the process of liberation. But these windows become progressively smaller and rarer as the possession deepens. The most tragic aspect is that the man often actively collaborates with his own possession, believing he is liberating himself sexually when he is actually being spiritually enslaved. Entities are masters at inverting perceptions, making degradation seem like elevation and slavery seem like freedom. Gradual possession is the perfect method because the victim never realizes they are being possessed. There is a dramatic difference between a man with healthy sexual energy and a man infested by parasitic entities. This difference is perceptible not only to trained sensitives but to anyone with basic spiritual discernment. Unfortunately, modern society has completely lost the ability to recognize the signs of demonic infestation. The first sign is the alteration of the gaze. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and when parasitic entities settle into a person's energetic system, this is immediately reflected in the ocular expression. Infested men develop an opaque gaze, as if there were an energetic veil blocking the direct connection to their inner essence. The second sign is the loss of personal magnetism. A man with conserved sexual energy naturally attracts positive attention. Children approach him, animals trust him, women feel his presence even in crowded environments. Infested men become energetically invisible. They go unnoticed, are easily forgotten, and have to consciously and artificially strive to draw attention. The third sign is the inversion of the natural energetic rhythm. Healthy men have more energy in the morning and gradually calm down throughout the day. Infested men often feel inexplicable morning lethargy, followed by increasing agitation that culminates in nocturnal compulsions. This inverted rhythm reflects the influence of entities operating at lower vibrational frequencies. The fourth sign is the fragmentation of attention. Men with integrated sexual energy can maintain sustained focus on important tasks for prolonged periods. Infested men develop a monkey mind that constantly jumps between intrusive sexual thoughts and other subjects, making deep concentration almost impossible. The fifth sign is the loss of connection with the sacred. Spiritually healthy men feel natural reverence for beauty, spontaneous gratitude for life, and natural impulses to protect what is pure and innocent. Infested men gradually lose these sensitivities, becoming cynical, materialistic, and desensitized to authentic beauty. The sixth sign is the alteration of sleep patterns. Parasitic entities are most active during the dark hours, especially between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Infested men often report insomnia during these hours, recurrent sexual nightmares, or restless sleep that leaves them more tired upon waking than when they went to bed. The seventh sign is the progressive degradation of relationships. Healthy men naturally inspire loyalty and respect in other men, and awaken authentic femininity in women. Infested men tend to create drama, conflict, and toxic dynamics even when they consciously desire harmony. Jung identified that autonomous complexes can take control over aspects of the personality, but did not recognize that some of these complexes are literally external parasitic entities. When a person is infested, Attentive observers can notice moments where something different is looking through their eyes. The eighth sign is the loss of authentic creativity. Conserved sexual energy naturally transforms into creative energy. Infested men may still produce competent technical work, but lose the capacity to create something truly original, inspired, or uplifting. Their creativity becomes mechanical and devoid of soul. The ninth sign is the development of irrational fears, especially fear of direct confrontation or situations requiring physical courage. Parasitic entities deliberately weaken the warrior aspect of the male personality because warriors are difficult to control. The 10th sign is the compulsion to intellectually justify self-destructive behaviors. Infested men often develop elaborate philosophies about why pornography is natural, healthy, or evolutionary. This compulsive rationalization is the entity speaking through the person's mind. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward liberation. Liberation from parasitic entities does not happen through willpower or conventional therapy. It requires specific methods of exorcism adapted for the realities of the modern world. These methods combine ancestral techniques tested for millennia with contemporary understandings of subtle energy and depth psychology. The first step is formal recognition, explicitly admitting that you are under the influence of parasitic entities. This is not metaphorical or symbolic, it is literal. Until a man recognizes that he is being influenced by non-human intelligences, he will continue trying to solve a spiritual problem with purely psychological tools. The second step is complete confession, documenting and writing the full extent of your infestation. What types of pornography you consumed, for how long, what fantasies you developed, what behaviors you adopted. This confession should be done as if you were reporting symptoms to a doctor, detailed, honest, and without minimization. Parasitic entities thrive on shame and secrecy. The third step is the cutting of etheric cords through specific visualization. During a deep meditative state, visualize all the energetic cords connecting you to the entities as thick cables coming out of your sexual chakra. Visualize a sword of light cutting each cord while you verbally declare, "I cut all energetic connections to parasitic entities. They no longer have authority over my sexuality." The fourth step is elemental purification through the 4 elements. Earth. Fast for 24 to 72 hours to cleanse the physical system. Water. Take coarse salt baths daily for 7 days. Fire. Expose yourself to the rising sun for at least 20 minutes daily. Air. Practice fire breath, Kapalabhati pranayama, to burn energetic impurities from the nervous system. The 5th step is auric protection through specific practices. Visualize a sphere of golden light, completely encompassing your energetic body every morning. Carry protective amulets, cross, pentagram, Eye of Horus, depending on your tradition. Use specific incense such as white sage, copal, or frankincense to cleanse your energetic environment. The 6th step is alchemical transmutation, converting accumulated sexual energy into spiritual power through specific practices. This includes intense physical exercises that move stagnant energy, martial arts that develop discipline and inner strength, meditations that direct sexual energy to the upper chakras. The 7th step is archetypal reconstruction, consciously reconnecting with healthy masculine archetypes. Regularly meditate on the symbols of the warrior: courage, discipline, protection; the king, leadership, responsibility, wisdom; the magician, knowledge, transformation, power; and the lover, connection, creativity, sacred passion. The exorcistic tradition has always emphasized that liberation requires a higher authority. For Christians, this means invoking the name of Jesus Christ. For other traditions, it may mean invoking angels, ascended masters, or higher aspects of one's own inner divinity. The important thing is to recognize that you cannot defeat these entities with your personal strength alone. During the process of liberation, expect extinction bursts, dramatic intensification of temptations as the entities fight to maintain control. These attacks may include extremely vivid sexual dreams, synchronicities that seem to test your resolve, or sexual opportunities that magically appear during your period of abstinence. It is also crucial to develop a spiritual support system, Other men who understand the spiritual dimension of this battle. Individual liberation is possible, but community liberation is much more powerful and lasting. The complete process can take from 40 days to 2 years, depending on the depth of the infestation. But every man who frees himself weakens the entire system and makes it easier for other men to follow the same path. Liberation is not just possible, it is inevitable for those who apply these methods with absolute determination. For millennia, they laughed at you. They laughed at your ignorance, your weakness, the ease with which you surrendered your life force in exchange for empty fantasies. They whispered among themselves, "Look how easy it is to dominate these modern men. They don't even know they are being hunted." But now you know. Now you understand that there is a real spiritual war being waged for your soul, that invisible entities feed on your wasted sexual energy, that every pornography session is a ritual where you offer your vital essence to demons who mock your masculinity. The question is, will you continue to be food for these entities, or will you initiate the process of spiritual liberation that your ancestors knew as exorcism? Will you remain a willing, energetic slave, or will you become a spiritual warrior who cuts the invisible chains that bind your soul? They do not expect you to fight back. For centuries, they have become accustomed to men who passively submit to their influence. They underestimated your ability to wake up to the truth and apply the ancestral methods of liberation. It is time to prove them wrong. It is time to stop feeding the astral parasites that suck your life force. It is time to cut the etheric cords, purify your aura, reconnect with your original divine nature. If this video awakened the dormant spiritual warrior within you, if you recognize that you are being manipulated by entities who consider you a cosmic joke, then you need to know the complete arsenal of the Seeker. Subscribe to the Seeker channel and activate the bell, because the spiritual war you have just declared needs to be constantly fed with esoteric knowledge and combat practices. Share this knowledge with other men who need to awaken to this reality. The liberation of masculinity is not an individual journey. It is a spiritual military operation that requires soldiers conscious of the true nature of the enemy. The time to laugh at them has arrived. When you completely free yourself, when you cut all the cords that connect them to your energy, when you become immune to their temptations, they stop laughing. They begin to fear, because a truly free man is the most dangerous thing that exists for the system of spiritual slavery. Until next time. Would you like me to translate another script or provide more information on any of the concepts mentioned, such as the techniques for cutting etheric cords?